Skillman Northeast Kia on Shadeland. We'll buy your car no matter what make and model, even if you don't buy one from us. You'll get a check on the spot as fast as 30 minutes. It doesn't get easier than that. Do you need a vacation, want to go shopping, or just need some spending money? We need cars and we have cash for you right now. So turn your car into cash at the all-new Ray Skillman Northeast Kia at 13th and Shadeland Avenue or RaySkillmanShadeland.com.
Welcome to the Bulldog Lounge here. I'm Mike Walensky for the 2022-23 IndianHighSchoolSports.com Boys Basketball Preseason Show. Tonight's show is built by Universal Roofing Exteriors. Visit them at universalrfg.com or call 317-257-0779. Of course, I'd like to thank the Bulldog Bar Lounge for hosting us tonight. The Bulldog is located at 54th and College, just south of downtown Broad Ripple. And tonight's show is brought to you by Genesis Sports Performance, the official sports performance training facility of IndianHighSchoolSports.com. Strength and conditioning, speed and agility. Visit GenesisSportsPerformance.com. Our first guest today is Chris Giffen. Chris is the first-year coach at Lawrence North. He replaces a legend in Jack Kiefer. His ball club plays Class 4A Sectional 10. Last year, 17-7. They lost to Cathedral 63-49 in the sectional championship game at Indianapolis Tech. They lost 6 seniors, but Coach Giffen, you have a lot of experience. You were the head girls basketball coach at Lawrence North. You had a lot of success there, and certainly you have a lot of background, starting with the fact that you were a three-sport athlete, if I'm not mistaken, at Ben Davis, where you were a giant, wore the purple, but then you made a great decision, and you attended Indiana University. You were a basketball manager, and there you forged a relationship with Coach Knight. You were able to be a graduate assistant at Texas Tech. Now you take over at Lawrence North. Talk a little bit about the ball club and what your expectations are heading into this season.
Well, first off, thank you for having me here. I feel like we're going to have a very competitive team. As you noted, we lost 6 seniors from Coach Kiefer's last year, but we do have 2 guards that return in the backcourt, as well as a post player with some limited varsity experience. And then I really feel like we've been able to, since May when I took the job, develop some depth. And we've evolved somewhat as a team, and I do feel like we're going to be, although in a very, very tough situation, both sectional and county, and the schedule we play, I do feel like we should be highly competitive, given the right kind of thing with injuries and avoiding injuries and whatnot. I'm excited about it. I mean, it's been a dream come true. You know, Coach Kiefer means the world to me, along with Coach Knight, who you noted have been unbelievably helpful in helping me get where I'm at. I couldn't thank him anymore to have this opportunity now. So I'm just excited to get going.
Chris, from the standpoint of taking over the boys program at Lawrence North, we mentioned that you were the head girls basketball coach for the Wildcats. But before that point, you assisted Jack Kiefer, so you're really familiar with the program.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was with Coach Kiefer as a volunteer varsity assistant back in the Odin Conley years. And I had that opportunity, and obviously we had a lot of success during those years. Still have relationships with those guys. And then I served as his head freshman coach, as the head JV coach, as a head varsity assistant, all those capacities prior to moving over to the girls' side and having that opportunity, which I loved for 10 years, that kind of culminated in that state championship in 2020, right before COVID hit. And so now I'm here. You know, Coach Kiefer he never thought he might retire, and he certainly could have kept going. I encouraged him to do so. Still has the passion. Obviously did a wonderful job. As you said, 17 wins last year, had some good players. But I have the opportunity now, and he gave me the blessing to go for it, and so here we go.
Chris Giffen, the head basketball coach at Lawrence North. Chris, I have a question for you.
Sure.
What is going on in Lawrence Township? What is happening on Hague Road? It looks like Lawrence North is turning into a city over there.
Yeah, we're going through a lot of changes physically, as you noted, to the building and the makeup, and we're excited about those changes that are going on. But it's taken a while already, and it's going to continue to take some time, I think, for it to all really, evolve into what it's going to be ultimately, and we'll have nice new facilities in many ways, and some of that will include and help the basketball program. But as you noted, right now you're driving by Hague Road there, it can look a hot mess at times for sure.
Last question, and I'm going to ask this to all the basketball coaches we have a chance to talk to. There's been a tournament format change this year by the IHSA. Last year, you played a sectional, you played 2 regional games, 1 semi-state, then you played a state championship. This year, now it's just 1 regional, 2 semi-state games. What are your thoughts about that change?
Well, I'm really pretty ambivalent on that. I think you could call me Switzerland. I'm neutral. I'm neutral on that. Obviously I recognize the impetus for doing so, and I read all the write-ups and looked at all of the different things that were put out there. But I'm truly, ambivalent on that. I don't have a say one way or the other, and I feel like if I'm lucky enough to be in a situation where we're in a regional, I'll be happy to have just the 1 game, and likewise, if we're able to move on and then have 2 games to prepare for potentially, that'll be a challenge, but one that would have formerly been at the regional level. So I don't see much difference. I understand the impetus for why they did it, and hopefully it benefits those that they're trying to help.
Last thought, since you're a first-year coach and you've replaced a legend, Jack Kiefer, talk about your staff. What changes have you made, or what have you kept the same?
Sure. Well, we've got 3 guys and then a woman that I've retained from Coach Kiefer's staff. They're in similar capacities to what they were doing before. Coach Good, whose son is on the team, he's a good little junior point guard for us that'll play a prominent role. He was on Coach Kiefer's staff the last 2 years. Coach Cooper, who I coached his daughter, she was an Indiana All-Star. He had been on Coach Kiefer's staff, and son played last year. He'll stay. He'll be a varsity assistant. And then former player of mine when I was with Coach Kiefer, Coach Howard, will be our JV coach. And he served in the same capacity for Coach Kiefer just last year. So it'll be his 2nd year doing that. And then Coach Welch, she is my right hand. She does everything. She's the administrative, kind of the dobo, so to speak, at the high school level. So I've got those 4. And then I brought with me Coach Sorrell, who was my associate head coach on the girls' side. He is fulfilling the same role on the boys' side.
Coach Giffen, wishing you the best of luck for 2022-23.
Thank you very much.
That was Chris Giffen, the head basketball coach of Lawrence North. When we return, after these messages, you're watching IndianaHighSchoolSports.com.
Universal Roofing and Exteriors is a family-owned and operated business, providing care and honest service for over 30 years. Universal has always been a little bit different. Their certified and trained employees don't just provide excellent work at a fair low price. They care about their customers, simply providing great customer service. Quality, honesty, dependability. That's Universal Roofing and Exteriors. Call us today at 317-257-0779. Looking for training that makes a difference? Then Genesis Sports Performance is for you. Whether you're a grade school, high school, or college athlete, or just looking to get back into shape, Genesis has customized programs providing rapid gains in strength and conditioning, speed and agility. Genesis features a 7,000 square foot facility with state-of-the-art weight room and huge turf surface. Call Genesis at 386-7459 or visit them at genesissportsperformance.com. Universal Roofing and Exteriors is a family-owned and operated business, providing care and honest service for over 30 years. Universal has always been a little bit different. Their certified and trained employees don't just provide excellent work at a fair low price. They care about their customers, simply providing great customer service. Quality, honesty, dependability. That's Universal Roofing and Exteriors. Call us today at 317-257-0779.
You got to sit up close. Welcome back to the Bulldog Lounge here at 54th and College here in Indianapolis to the 2022-23 Indiana High School Boys Basketball Preseason Show on IndianaHighSchoolSports.com. Our next guest is Ben Rhodes. Ben Rhodes is a head basketball coach at Mount Vernon for the Marauders in his fifth year. Assisted the Junior All-Stars last year. His ball club will play in the Class 4A Sectional 9 with Anderson, Greenfield Central, Muncie Central, New Pal, Pendleton Heights, and Richmond. Last year, your ball club was 22-3. You lost to Ben Davis, 52-50 in the regional, and you lost a lot of seniors, but you got Eli Breidenthal back, and you got a school that has a culture of winning. This is Ben Rhodes.
Right. No, thank you for having us. First of all, you know, we've had a good run the last couple years, but we lost 8 seniors last year, but that's part of the fun. This year we have Eli Breidenthal coming back, who's committed to Xavier for baseball. He's our only real returning senior. Other than that, we've got a lot of inexperienced kids, but to me that's part of the fun of what we're doing, and hopefully as the season goes on, we'll be playing our best basketball in March.
You have a lot of experience prior to coming to Mount Vernon. You were assistant coach with Mark James, who's now the head basketball coach at Perry Meridian. You were his assistant at Ben Davis and at Franklin Central. And you mentioned to me you're from Hagerstown, which is the home of Dick Satterfield, one of the great reserve basketball players that played for the Purdue Boilermakers many years ago. Can you talk a little bit about that experience in coaching for Coach James, who's had a tremendous amount of success along the way?
Well, yeah, I think one of the key things I've learned from is it's about a lot more than just basketball. It's about basketball as a tool to get kids, you know, to where they're going to be later in life, to be leaders and to run a business, to run a family. And so I think he just brought a different perspective to me as time went on of what basketball was really about. But in my mind, you can't learn from anybody but him. He's one of the best. He's got so many wins. He's in the Hall of Fame in Indiana. And, you know, he's still a great mentor that I talk to weekly about different things. I can always ask him questions if I don't know what the real answer is.
Ben, let's talk about the Marauders in 22-23. What are your expectations for this ball club?
Well, we're going to be young to start out the year. Only having one returner is going to be different since the 5 years I've been there. But we've got a lot of other kids that played on the junior varsity last year that I think are really going to be able to step up and help us. We have a couple freshmen that are going to get some varsity minutes at the beginning of the year in Luke Ertl and Julian Smith. And so, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how they mesh as the season goes on, and that's part of the fun. This is different than any team I've coached at Mount Vernon, but I think this is going to be one of the most exciting years we could have.
I asked this question to Coach Giffen in his first year at Lawrence North. There's been a change in the tournament format as far as the IHSA is concerned. Now you play a one-day regional, one-game regional. You go to 2 games in the semi-state. What are your thoughts about that change?
Well, you still have to win the same amount of games to win the state championship. But I think it's going to be unique to see how it is if you get to the regional, because maybe I'm just a traditionalist, but I've always kind of liked how it's been for the last few years. And since I've been fortunate enough to win sectionals, both as a head coach and an assistant, it's always been a 2-game regional. So to me, it's going to be a lot different for how it is. And I know they're trying to involve, teams later in the tournament. And I'm sure there's going to be some great positives, but for us, it's right around spring break, which would change a lot if you happen to advance past the regional. But, that'd be a great problem to have if you're having to practice over spring break.
One of the problems that your sectional opponents have is your ball club. They fear you. You've developed that mystique. You've done a great job at the helm of the Marauders program. What's been the key to your success?
Well, I think it's just helping the kids understand that we're going to stay the course. It's a journey. The season's a journey. And right now we're focused on our first game, which is against Lawrence Central. And we're just going to try to get better every day. And every game we're going to try to improve a little bit. And the goal is, when you get to the first week of March, be playing the best basketball you can. And I think it's important you don't look too far ahead and you don't dwell too much on the past. And I think that's one of my things, is we just try to keep the course, stay steady, and just improve every day as a group and kind of bond. And, I think good things can happen if that's what you do.
Ben, we really appreciate you being here at the Bulldog Lounge tonight, and best wishes to you and the Mount Vernon Marauders in the 22-23 season.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much.
Great to have you here.
Thank you.
That was Ben Rhodes, the head basketball coach at Mount Vernon High School. When we return, you're watching the 2022-23 preseason boys basketball show on IndianaHighSchoolSports.com.
Universal Roofing and Exteriors is a family-owned and operated business, providing care and honest service for over 30 years. Universal has always been a little bit different. Their certified and trained employees don't just provide excellent work at a fair low price. They care about their customers, simply providing great customer service. Quality, honesty, dependability. That's Universal Roofing and Exteriors. Call us today at 317-257-0779. Looking for training that makes a difference? Then Genesis Sports Performance is for you. Whether you're a grade school, high school, or college athlete, or just looking to get back into shape, Genesis has customized programs providing rapid gains in strength and conditioning, speed and agility. Genesis features a 7,000 square foot facility with state-of-the-art weight room and huge turf surface. Call Genesis at 386-7459 or visit them at GenesisSportsPerformance.com.
Tonight's show is built by Universal Roofing and Exteriors. Visit them at universalrfg.com or call 317-257-0779, and by Genesis Sports Performance, the official sports performance training facility of IndianaHighSchoolSports.com. Strength and conditioning, speed and agility. Visit GenesisSportsPerformance.com. And a special thanks to Bulldog Bar and Lounge, where we are tonight. They're hosting us here at 54th and College, and our next guest is Jim Stambra, the new head basketball coach for the Cecina Crusaders in his first year. You've got a Class 2A ball club in Sectional 42. That's a pretty good basketball with Eastern Hancock, Riverside, Irvington Prep, and Triton Central. Talk a little bit about your club and your expectations in your first year.
Well, right now I'm still learning the kids. I didn't get named head coach until late September, so I've only had 9 practices with the team right now, and half of those played football. So a few of those, not even the 9 practices. So, but I've been pleasantly pleased with what I've seen so far. We've got some kids that have returned, including our leading scorer, Keaton Thibault, and some 3 other starters back from last year's team. So, I'm cautiously optimistic and anxious to get going, but then we have to play 6 games in 11 days. So, it's going to hit us really hard right at the beginning.
Coach, in your past, you were an assistant at a very successful Lawrence North Ball Club. What do you take with you from LN to Scecina in your first year?
Well, I've been very fortunate to coach with 4 different Hall of Fame coaches, and of course, Coach Kiefer is a legend. He's a treasure, and I picked a little things up, from each one of them. But with Coach Kiefer, the kind of energy that he had, even in the last few years, up to 78 years old. I try to take that energy with me. We work on a lot of fundamentals that he always stressed, and just demanding that kids play hard. So.
In our discussion off air, you mentioned you're a Howe graduate, and that's a beautiful thing because of the fact that you returned to the East Side. Scecina and Howe are very close. You're going to bring a lot of pride and determination, I think, to this ball club this year.
Well, I am from the East Side. That's where I grew up. My mom lived there for 42 years, about a mile from the campus. So I'm an East Sider at heart. Even though I don't live there anymore, it's sort of weird to come full circle to be back to where I grew up. But I'm looking forward to it.
What are your expectations for your ball club coming into this year?
Well, with the returning people that we do have and the schedule we play, I think we've got some pieces that once we get to know each other fairly well or better, and I try to change the culture a little bit and change the way that we play from the style that they did in the past. I think that will be better for us and hopefully successful for us for this year.
A question that I've asked all the coaches who have participated in the show is the fact that this year there's a change in the format as far as the tournament is concerned. Now we've got 1 game at the regionals, 2 games at semi-state, kind of flipped. What are your thoughts about that?
It's kind of neat. When I was at Rebuff back in the late 80s and early 90s, we went to the state finals in 1991. And that was back when one class tournament. And I'm a supporter of class basketball, but having the 2 games in 1 day is always a special thing. And to allow kids to maybe get another weekend there to play that 2 games on the following weekend instead of the first weekend, I think there's positives to that. And so I think it's a good thing.
When you look back at Scecina, the last time they had a tremendous amount of success was about 4 years ago when Rob New was the head basketball coach. He took his team down to Washington where they really played a nice game with Forest Park before Forest Park were able to take them out. You're really close. You got a lot of athletes and a lot of kids who play football. Can you talk a little bit about the transition from football to basketball, how much time it's going to take to get these kids in shape?
Well, I think it'll probably take at least a quarter to a third of the season to try to make that transition. I'm a supporter of kids playing all sports. I played multiple sports when I was in high school. And I know kids, at the 4A level tend to specialize a lot more like they did at Lawrence North. But I'm a big fan of kids playing football, baseball. They're only kids once. They might as well enjoy themselves. Does it mean that, it impacts us a little bit? Yeah, I think so, and particularly the beginning part of the year. But I support that 100%.
Coach D'Ambro, best of luck to you and the Crusaders in this upcoming season. Really appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks for coming out to the Bulldog Lounge. And with that, we'll return after these messages on IndianaHighSchoolSports.com.
Universal Roofing and Exteriors is a family-owned and operated business, providing care and honest service for over 30 years. Universal has always been a little bit different. Their certified and trained employees don't just provide excellent work at a fair low price. They care about their customers, simply providing great customer service. Quality, honesty, dependability. That's Universal Roofing and Exteriors. Call us today at 317-257-0779. Looking for training that makes a difference? Then Genesis Sports Performance is for you. Whether you're a grade school, high school, or college athlete, or just looking to get back into shape, Genesis has customized programs providing rapid gains in strength and conditioning, speed and agility. Genesis features a 7,000 square foot facility with state-of-the-art weight room and huge turf surface. Call Genesis at 386-7459 or visit them at genesissportsperformance.com. Universal Roofing and Exteriors is a family-owned and operated business, providing care and honest service for over 30 years. Universal has always been a little bit different. Their certified and trained employees don't just provide excellent work at a fair low price. They care about their customers, simply providing great customer service. Quality, honesty, dependability. That's Universal Roofing and Exteriors. Call us today at 317-257-0779.
Welcome back to the Bulldog Bar and Lounge for hosting us tonight. The Bulldog is located 54th and College, just south of downtown Broad Ripple. And this is the Boys High School Basketball 2022-23 preseason show. And our next guest is Alan Glunt, the new head basketball coach at Brebeuf, and he's no stranger to the Braves. Last year, 15-10 at Tri-West, and you returned to Brebeuf. You were an assistant there at Brebeuf. You worked at the school. You have a lot of familiarity with this program.
Yep. Yeah, it's a incredible opportunity. Not really something that I had in my mind when I left the first time, right? A lot of familiarity with the players, only being away for a year. There's a lot of familiar faces. Not necessarily guys that have played big roles, but an opportunity for guys to kind of step in. Heavy senior class last year at Brebeuf. Tremendous season. And as good as they were, we've got a lot to replace with this year's group. So we're super excited to kind of see how this group comes together and what we learn from guys. And we're looking forward to a great year.
Alan Glunt is our guest, the head basketball coach at Brebeuf. All the coaches here on this preseason show have great pedigrees. And Alan, you were an assistant at Western Boone. You were assistant at Wabash College. Two absolutely tremendous programs. And, of course, we talked about your role at Tri-West. What did you learn as a head basketball coach for the Bruins?
I probably learned most of the things that I don't know. Like, you learn about what you don't know in your first opportunity as a head coach, and you just spend a lot of time focusing in on building relationships with guys. I mean, the season's such a grind with who you play, and as an assistant, you spend a lot of time on film and X's and O's and game prep, and you're doing a lot of the behind-the-scenes work. And as you step into the head coaching role, there's just so much more that you need to get out of players. And one of the things I picked up last year in my first year as a head coach is how important it is to continue to just get better every single day. And with our group last year, we had some stretches where we played well, some stretches where we really struggled, but by February, we were playing the best basketball we had all year, and we had a berth in the sectional championship game and got beat by 4 by a team that won the regional. So, with a group that you as a coach, you talk about it every year. You want to be playing your best basketball by March, and it doesn't always work out like that, And so working with guys on the emotional aspects of a long season is probably the thing I learned the most. You can't just go stats and film, and it's got to be relationships and keeping guys together and working through the highs and lows and kind of keeping that ultimate goal in line of just being the most connected that you can be as a group when it comes time for the playoffs.
Alan Glenn is our guest, the head basketball coach at Brebeuf. And what's interesting, every step of the way, I meet someone from Sheridan. And you're one of them.
Yes.
You are a Blackhawk.
Yes, sir.
It's really nice to be able to meet another Sheridan Blackhawk, because I've met quite a few of them. Looking at your returnees, you've got a bunch of guys that played some football. Merrick Macaluso, Jared Bowling. And you've got a couple other guys that are really good, solid basketball players, and Cameron Freeman and Reese Butcher. Can you talk a little bit about your ball club?
Absolutely. So we returned 2 contributors from last year's team that played kind of reserve roles for that group that won the sectional and went to the regional. So we're going to rely heavily on those 2 guys. Cam Freeman's our senior point guard. He's going to have a tremendous year. He's an incredible leader. He has his voice in the locker room. The guys listen to him. And for him, it's just going to be big to kind of step into a pair of shoes that have expectations and some accountability to produce at a higher level. It's not an easy thing to do, but he's wired to do that. He's going to get better every day, and we'll go as he goes early in the year. Reese Butcher's a junior for us that played in 26 games last year off the bench, played some really key minutes for last year's team, but kind of got to play that glue guy role. Like, he just kind of filled in and played whatever position was needed. And this year we need him to carry more of the scoring load and the defensive load. So he's got shoes to fill as well. Like, we got to kind of make some improvements in his game. So we'll lean really, really heavily on those 2 guys early in the year to kind of be the calming force, as really the remainder of our roster of guys that will compete for minutes are going to be playing their first varsity minutes. And so we're still kind of in the phase where we are piecing guys together to figure out what the best combination is. We have 4 guys that joined the varsity group from football. So 4 of our top 10 guys were fall sport athletes in a football team that was super competitive and very, very successful. So they'll bring a level of toughness to our group that we really need. And then we kind of fill in a junior, Evan Haywood, was a really, really good JV player for Brebeuf last year. He's come a long way, made tremendous strides this summer and fall, and he's going to provide a scoring punch for this group that I think will help calm the nerves of a lot of guys. He's a really, really talented player, and we have high expectations for him. And then we've got a group of about 3 juniors, Javon Brooks, Will Ryan, and Sam Sherman, who, again, JV guys last year who are tough and gritty. And again, trying to fit in and feel where those guys are going to help us the most is really kind of where we are right now. And that's what makes it exciting for me. It can be kind of daunting, kind of not knowing how the group's going to fit together. But I've been, again, around Brebeuf for a long time in a lot of different capacities, and I truly feel like this is the most athletic and dynamic group that I can remember us having.
And you'll need to add that because Class 3A, Sectional 27 is packed with really good ball clubs in Guerin Catholic, Heritage Christian, Chittard, Heron, and Shortridge. A little question here for you. The tournament has changed this year. Now we play 1 regional and 2 semi-state games. What are your thoughts about that?
It's a great opportunity for programs to continue to extend their season. And then one of the great things about making that shift is it's going to allow an increased number of teams to continue on with their season. And I mean, the format one way or the other doesn't really impact us in the long run, I don't think. But like, I'm never going to say no to having a better opportunity of playing another week, right? And that's one of the things that we really strive for, right? When we get to the end of the year, emotionally as a group, when we're connected, are we still hungry for another week, right? And that's the season's long and it can wear guys out. So readjusting the format to allow more teams to have that extra week is going to be a tremendous opportunity to kind of keep the season going.
Well, we hope you will be able to keep your season going all the way to the end.
Appreciate you.
The journey is on for the Brebeuf Braves and Alan Glunt. Alan, best wishes to you.
Appreciate you.
That was Alan Glunt, the head basketball coach at Brebeuf. We'll be back after these messages on IndianaHighSchoolSports.com.
Looking for training that makes a difference? Then Genesis Sports Performance is for you. Whether you're a grade school, high school, or college athlete, or just looking to get back into shape, Genesis has customized programs providing rapid gains in strength and conditioning, speed and agility. Genesis features a 7,000 square foot facility with state-of-the-art weight room and huge turf surface. Call Genesis at 386-7459 or visit them at genesissportsperformance.com. Universal Roofing and Exteriors is a family-owned and operated business, providing care and honest service for over 30 years. Universal has always been a little bit different. Their certified and trained employees don't just provide excellent work at a fair low price. They care about their customers, simply providing great customer service. Quality, honesty, dependability. That's Universal Roofing and Exteriors. Call us today at 317-257-0779.
Turn your car into cash at the all-new Ray Skillman Northeast Kia on Shadeland. We'll buy your car no matter what make and model, even if you don't buy one from us. You'll get a check on the spot as fast as 30 minutes. It doesn't get easier than that. Do you need a vacation, want to go shopping, or just need some spending money? We need cars and we have cash for you right now. So turn your car into cash at the all-new Ray Skillman Northeast Kia at 13th and Shadeland Avenue or RaySkillmanShadeland.com.
Talk. I can hear you now.
Yeah, I can hear you better.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's cool.
Yeah, if you can go up just a little bit more.
My inspiration was, that's just my age. I've told Dave Orland this about a million times. Tom Cutter, Jack Costello, and
yeah.
They won the first sectional to knock off Jeff after 28 straight years. Unbelievable.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It was unbelievable. That really jump-started the basketball area.
Yeah.
It gave everybody hope.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah, Coach Worland just went back for something with that team a couple weeks ago.
That was an awesome team. And they lost to West Lafayette in the or beat West Lafayette in overtime, I think, to get there.
Yeah.
It could have been West Side.
Yeah. It was good basketball.
Definitely. Okay. Welcome back to the Bulldog Bar and Lounge here at 54th and College. I'm Mike Walensky, and thanks for tuning in tonight on our 2022-23 preseason boys basketball coach show. And our next coach is Jason Delaney from Cathedral. And Jason, your ball club was fantastic last year. Congratulations on a state championship.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me tonight. It's an honor to talk about our kids and talk about our program.
Jason, a little bit about your ball club last year. You were 26-6, and you beat a really solid Chesterton team to win a state championship. And you have one of the state's outstanding players returning in Xavier Booker. Can you talk a little bit about some of the players coming back beyond Xavier?
Yeah, everyone knows Xavier, and such a humble and great kid. Jake Davis is our vocal leader coming back now, and he's 5 charges away from the all-time record for Indiana for charges taken. And just everything you want in a teammate, just fabulous. Jerron Tibbs, he comes back leading us in every statistical category. People don't realize how good Jerron is, and we're going to get challenged early on because he's still with football, and so he definitely won't play the first game. But just an amazing person, kid. Sincere Germany is a kid that's played varsity for the last couple of years, and he's a senior for us, and he's waited his time, and now he's ready to contribute. We've got LeBron Goff. He'll get the first shot at running our point. He'll try to take the reins from Tayshawn Comer. Derek Hannaday is a big one for us. Kamari Slaughter, who came in from Portage. And then Brady Kohler, a 6'7" sophomore who's starting to get a lot of interest from colleges. And so, from there, we kind of build on it. We've got a freshman, Keaton Aldridge, who might be one of the hardest players I've ever coached. Just how hard he plays and goes. He's going to give himself a chance to get on as a freshman just by that. And we've got some other guys that we'll look at, and and have an opportunity as well.
Your basketball team obviously will have a target on its back because it's had some success. That's no different than Cathedral football because it's had a lot of championships too, and everybody likes to play them. But what are your expectations for this upcoming season?
I mean, I think, we want to build on what we did last year. I mean, of course, we want to repeat as state champions. And we built the schedule to kind of even go even higher than what we did last year. You set your goals, and our goal was to be the first ever 4A state champs at Cathedral, and we were able to accomplish that. We were first private school to ever win the 4A state championship, small school to ever win the 4A state championship. So now, we achieved that goal. Our goal is, again, to win a state championship, but you have to aim higher. So now we come in, we're blessed to have the opportunity to be ranked number 13 in America in the Fab 50 by the Ball's Life poll, and then number 22 in America by Max Preps. And so with that, I felt like we were really ready for that state championship run last year because of the schedule we built. So now you kind of go even higher, and our kids have opportunities to play in these great events, showcases. So we play 4 nationally ranked teams, starting with December 3rd against Gabe Cups, who's Ohio's Mr. Basketball, head to IU. And, we've got St. Rita with 2 big boys who Duke and everybody's offered. We've got Pickerton Central, who knocked off Centerville. They're only lost in 2 years, and Chicago Simeon. And then we just all these different major teams that we get to play along with the state's best, and we're trying to build for that state run again. We want our kids and our program and our coaches to face adversity. It's built for that. Last year we lost a couple early, and people were like, what's wrong with Cathedral? Nothing's wrong. We built the schedule to face this, and again, we rebounded every time that we lost a game, and that's what it's built. We want to test ourselves physically, mentally, and spiritually each and every year, and that's what we've done again this year.
Jason Delaney, the head basketball coach at Cathedral, is our guest. He formerly had won a state championship at Tech. I believe you were an excellent coach at Waldred. But I know your roots. You're from Lafayette, and you played at Lafayette Central Catholic, which has a tremendous tradition. You played for Dave Warland. You just mentioned to me it was his last year as head basketball coach. Now Dave is the vice president at Cathedral High School, the former principal. Talk a little bit about being from Lafayette and playing for Central Catholic.
I'm a Lafayette boy, so proud to be from Lafayette and grow up there and really get to study great coaches. Rick Peckinpah's system I grew up in, to learn from him and going to those games on Friday and Saturday nights. Those were, the LeBron James and the Michael Jordans, those high school kids. And I always wanted to be a high school coach. And then I went to Lafayette Central Catholic my junior and senior year where I met Coach Warland. And, I learned so much from him. And so just being from Lafayette and learning from that and being that little boy who wanted to grow up and be a high school coach, I played in the single class, which seems so long ago. But, we were Little CC and we were playing against Harrison and Jeff and McCutcheon and all of those teams. Just a lot of pride from Lafayette and hopefully making that my hometown proud.
And you talk about Rick Peckinpah. He was the longtime coach for McCutcheon and an outstanding basketball coach who took his team to a state championship game, fell just a little bit short to New Albany and Romeo and Rondell Moore,
yes,
who's now playing for the Phoenix Cardinals football. But Rondell Moore actually, his sophomore year, played high school basketball in Indiana.
I did not know that.
Yes, he did.
I didn't. Now I know. Learned something new tonight.
We do. And let's talk a little bit about some of the tournament changes. I've asked this question to everybody here tonight, and that is you no longer will have 2 regional games. You'll just have 1 regional, 2 semi-state games. What are your thoughts about that, considering the fact you've had so much success at Cathedral, winning a state championship last year?
I liked it how it was. I thought it was good. I love that regional, that morning game and then that evening game. But I see why they might want to change it too. You get to that semi-state and the crowds are not as electric as maybe the regional. We're going to find out this year. Hopefully we're there to learn about it, and then I can answer that question. But I think, it is what it is. But we'll see. I think it's wait and see. I'm more excited too about we get to go to Illinois twice and play with a shot clock. For our program and for our kids, I think that's going to be pretty neat to see what that's like. So we got to kind of see some of the cutting-edge things in sports, and we'll see how those go.
Last question for you, and I have not asked this to anyone. I want to ask you this question specifically. How much time do you dedicate as a head basketball coach, and when? It's got to be 12 months out of the year, and a lot of people aren't even aware of that.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. It's all the time, and if you want to be great, you've got to be willing to sacrifice things, and we talk about that all the time. You got time and giving up things that you want to do. I'm a basketball junkie, so year-round I'm basketball. If I'm not doing it with Cathedral, then I'm coaching AAU with Indy Heat. Started the youth program for Indy Heat to kind of build up and help kids and teach kids. And so this is my life. This is what I do. But people have no idea how much time goes into this. And I say it a lot. We have one of the professions where anyone thinks they can do it. The guy sitting in the stands or whoever, like, oh, that's easy. It's kind of like me saying I've watched Law and Order, so I'm going to go be a lawyer or something. It just doesn't make sense sometimes. But people have no idea with the preparation, even during the season. You're watching tons of film. You're doing scouting reports. You really put so much time into this stuff, and last 32 minutes. I talk all the time about the sectional. We went 5 years where we couldn't win a sectional game. We're spending about 365 days, working hard to get prepared for 32 minutes, and then all of a sudden it's over. And now you've got to wait another year to get it. So people have no idea how much time and sacrifice that goes into this.
Well, hopefully the time that you take this year will pay dividends for you.
That's what we're hoping. But thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Great to have you here. This was Jason Delaney, the head basketball coach at Cathedral, the former Class 4A state champion. You're watching High School Basketball Preseason Show on IndianaHighSchoolSports.com.
Universal Roofing and Exteriors is a family-owned and operated business, providing care and honest service for over 30 years. Universal has always been a little bit different. Their certified and trained employees don't just provide excellent work at a fair low price. They care about their customers, simply providing great customer service. Quality, honesty, dependability. That's Universal Roofing and Exteriors. Call us today at 317-257-0779. Looking for training that makes a difference? Then Genesis Sports Performance is for you. Whether you're a grade school, high school, or college athlete, or just looking to get back into shape, Genesis has customized programs providing rapid gains in strength and conditioning, speed and agility. Genesis features a 7,000 square foot facility with state-of-the-art weight room and huge turf surface. Call Genesis at 386-7459 or visit them at GenesisSportsPerformance.com. Universal Roofing and Exteriors is a family-owned and operated business, providing care and honest service for over 30 years. Universal has always been a little bit different. Their certified and trained employees don't just provide excellent work at a fair low price. They care about their customers, simply providing great customer service. Quality, honesty, dependability. That's Universal Roofing and Exteriors. Call us today at 317-257-0779.
Okay, I can hear the noise in the background.
I can hear you.
Yep. Okay. You, Bobby, Jason, Cathedral people. Because I did 18 years of Cathedral football, like basketball, I did another network.
Yeah.
So I was very seldom around here.
Is that right?
That's why I'm doing this for Steve, because now I don't have to travel.
Yeah.
I was going all over the place. I was doing college stuff too. I don't want to do that. It's too much. I'm at that point. I'm fine.
I understand.
But
Yeah.
this is just important.
No, this is great you're doing it.
Welcome back to the Bulldog Bar and Lounge here in Indianapolis at 54th and College. I'm Mike Walensky. Joining us as our next guest is Tim Adams, the head basketball coach at Park Tudor High School. In his fifth year, 57 and 29. And Tim, you've got your you got a challenge ahead of you because Class 2A includes Cascade, Covenant Christian, Sheridan, and University. There's some pretty good ball clubs there.
That's right, Mike. And it's been now since Heritage Christians is out of our sectional. You'd like to think, oh gosh, it's gotten a little bit easier, but that's not the case. University is going to be very well prepared towards the end of the year, like they always are with Coach Lafferman. Same thing with Covenant Christian. Don't know much about Cascade and Sheridan being new to our sectional, and so we'll have to kind of figure that out as we go. But we know that we're definitely going to have a battle waiting for us here at the end of the year.
Last year you were 14-7, but Park Tudor has a great history of basketball. In the tournament, 63-39, already with 8 sectionals, 6 regionals, 5 semi-states, and 2 states. So what are your expectations this year?
No, Mike, that's you make it sound so easy. But it's a special place to be, and it's a tradition, a winning tradition that's been in place since the early 2000s there, where they had their run and they were won, multiple state titles and had success in the tournament, and they sure made it look easy, and they had great coaches and great players. And so when we look at our expectations, as cliche as it sounds, we're trying to get better every day. And we know that we have a goal and a destination at the end of the season that we want to get to. And for us to reach that goal or that destination, we know how hard it is. And we know how much work we have to put in on a daily basis just to give us a chance with all the competition that's there. Because as people say, with winning state titles in the past, and why aren't we doing it? Well, it's hard. Winning's hard, and there's a lot of good coaches out there, and there's a lot of good programs. And so we know we have to, come towards the end of the year, we've got to have all our stuff together.
We just had an opportunity to see Park Tudor play North Judson Friday in basketball, and one of the guys that stood out for the Panthers was 6'6" Bryson Hobbs. And also returning for your basketball program is Jermaine Coleman, and there's others as well.
Yeah, so Jermaine is going to be a key piece to us this year. Returning senior, started for 3 years for us. He's been through the battles. He's ready to make a run at this thing here in his last year, and he's put in a ton of work, individual work. He's really working on being a leader and doing other things outside of just scoring the ball. It's been a joy to coach him and watch him grow over the last couple of years. And we just had a conversation in my office today on how ready he is to get this season going, knowing that it's his last run, but how quickly it goes.
When you look at your ball club, what are your expectations this year? Of course, last year at the helm, you lost to Heritage Christian 69-54, finishing 14-7. This could be a big year for your ball club.
Yeah, we have, our expectation is to compete and win basketball games at a high level. And as you look at our regular season schedule, we're playing the big boys. We're playing Pike, North Central, LC, Warren Central. Now I scheduled that all within about 3 weeks, so I'm not sure what I was doing there. But hopefully that prepares us for the competition here at the end of the year. And we joke around last year, playing Heritage Christian, that wasn't a typical 2A team with the talent that they had. And Miles Colvin played them first, early in the year. We held them to 9, and then we played them in the sectional. We held them to 31, and we got an early exit there. And so, hats off to them. Thank God they're out of our sectional, but it doesn't get any easier as you look around and see who else is still in there.
This year, there's a change in the tournament format. I've asked this question to all the coaches here. The change, obviously, only one game in the regional. Now there's 2 semi-states. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think that's how it used to be, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of going back old school. And when I was an assistant at Cathedral and we made our run, playing 2 games in the regional, we talked a lot about that, how it used to be two on the semi-state and back at Hinkle Fieldhouse when you'd have the big crowds in the morning, the big crowds at night. I think that you're going to see that again. I think the further you go in the tournament and you have 2 games semi-state, I just think that it's going to be building up, and you're going to have people wanting to come out kind of the way it used to be. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully we're playing that weekend. Hopefully we'll get that experience to play that morning and that evening. But I'm for it. I think change is good, and it's not a drastic change, right? It's just a little tweak there from regional to semi-state. So our goal is to be playing that weekend. So I hope that we can experience it.
Let's talk a little bit about your team, and you talked about the expectations and your scheduling. What are some thoughts about Park Tudor, and what when you talk about Park Tudor, what do you think about your ball club? What do you want people to think about the Panthers?
Yeah, I want our guys to resemble a selfless group, right? A tough, selfless group that don't care who gets the success, that want to share in their teammates' success and celebrate their teammates' success. We'd like to be considered a hard-nosed team that plays fast, right? That's going to be physical. As people look in the past and you see all the banners hanging, they didn't just do that because Yogi Ferrell was there. The foundation was built before that, and obviously talent helped that. But that guy was one of the toughest guys that you've seen play at the high school level, and Trayvon and those guys. And so we're trying to emulate that, right? We want to be a unselfish group that plays tough, that does not care who gets gets credit for the success and winning games or scoring points and that stuff. So.
Tim Adams, the head basketball coach at Park Tudor, joins us. And last question, Tim. Much like a lot of other schools around the Marion County area, there has been a significant amount of renovations going on at Park Tudor.
Yeah.
What is going on over there?
I'll tell you what, Mike, we are awfully fortunate to have the Irsay Center open up last year. There was a time in my third year where we didn't have a home court and we were practicing out at the sports zone and didn't play one home game. And come February, I would have done anything to get a home game that year. And so we were fortunate enough last year to play 3/4 of our season in the Irsay Center. And I will tell you, it is state of the art. And if you haven't been by, come see it and see that all the effort and the details they put in, and the support's there for athletics to be successful. And that feels good as a head coach and as an athletic director. I think that we're going the right direction. You see football have some success and soccer winning state titles this year. And so the joke kind of around Park Tudor is now it's our turn.
Yeah.
And so there are no more excuses with having the facility we have. And so we think we have a group to be able to do that this year.
I've asked this question to a couple of other coaches. There's a lot of young men who are playing multiple sports. How long will it take for a lot of these football players to get ready to play basketball?
Yeah, I think we try to give our guys, unless they want to come in right away and jump in, we try to give them a week off. Those guys that were main guys in the football team that made a run and won a sectional and lost in the regional, they're banged up. And it's a different type of being in shape playing basketball and playing football. So we try to get them acclimated as soon as we can, knowing that there are going to be mistakes along the way. And these guys got to get their bodies right and their minds right to make that adjustment to get ready for the duration of a basketball season, which is different than football just playing once a week. We have multiple games. So it'll take them about a week to 10 days to start really getting their feet underneath them. But we'll be patient with them, and we'll work around mistakes and then continue to coach them up.
Last question, talk about your staff. You've got Tim Adams and?
Yeah, my staff is great, and honestly, they make me look a whole lot better than I am. Eddie Wagner's been with me for 4 years. He's my right-hand man and a guy that I lean heavily on for the X's and O's, and he just does a great job with relationships with our student athletes. Kevin Clark, this is his first year coming over. He's kind of playing the dad role with me. He's a guy that I can lean on and make sure that I'm not going crazy when I think I am. He's got a lot of wisdom. He's been around the game for a long time, and so he's a guy I'll lean on for some advice with maybe some of the guys. J.B. Rapp, 2-time state champ at Park Tudor back in the Yogi days, was a big part of that team. This is his third year with us, and he's been through the battles as a player, and he's now starting to cut his teeth as a coach, and really bright young guy that has a lot of energy that's going to bring that passion on a daily basis.
Tim, much luck to you and the Park Tudor Panthers.
Thanks a lot, Mike. Appreciate it.
Yep. That was Tim Adams, the head basketball coach at Park Tudor. When we return, we'll talk more to high school basketball coaches. This is IndianaHighSchoolSports.com.
Universal Roofing and Exteriors is a family-owned and operated business, providing care and honest service for over 30 years. Universal has always been a little bit different. Their certified and trained employees don't just provide excellent work at a fair low price. They care about their customers, simply providing great customer service. Quality, honesty, dependability. That's Universal Roofing and Exteriors. Call us today at 317-257-0779. Looking for training that makes a difference? Then Genesis Sports Performance is for you. Whether you're a grade school, high school, or college athlete, or just looking to get back into shape, Genesis has customized programs providing rapid gains in strength and conditioning, speed and agility. Genesis features a 7,000 square foot facility with state-of-the-art weight room and huge turf surface. Call Genesis at 386-7459 or visit them at genesissportsperformance.com. Universal Roofing and Exteriors is a family-owned and operated business, providing care and honest service for over 30 years. Universal has always been a little bit different. Their certified and trained employees don't just provide excellent work at a fair low price. They care about their customers, simply providing great customer service. Quality, honesty, dependability. That's Universal Roofing and Exteriors. Call us today at 317-257-0779.
Thanks to the folks here for hosting us tonight. The Bulldog is located 54th and College. I'm Mike Walensky. Welcome back to the preseason 2022-23 Indiana High School Boys Basketball Show. Our next guest is Brandon Lafferman. Brandon is the 10th-year coach at University, 157 and 67 in that Class 2A sectional. We just had Tim Adams here from Park Tudor, so you got a chance to say hello to one of your sectional opponents upcoming. Your ball club is loaded with a lot of returning players. Can you talk a little bit about them? And then let's talk about your expectations.
Sure. Well, we returned 7 of 9 guys that played pretty decent amount of varsity minutes last year. First guy that comes to mind, Sabian Kane. He's a junior, had a great sophomore season, averaged about 15, 16 a game. Sabian's definitely ready to have a big junior year, and I think will be one of the better juniors in the state. Andre Oslowski is a senior returning. He had a huge postseason for us and definitely helped our sectional victory and do well in the regional. He's been looking great in practice. Kamai Bracey and Seth Hogg are both going to be seniors for us this year and probably moving from more role-oriented spots to some bigger spots for the team in the starting lineup. And then our point guard's back, Robert Russell Jr., also a junior, and he had a great kind of last half of the season into the postseason. So we're excited about what we have.
Brandon Lafferman is our guest here, the head basketball coach at University. Here's a unique stat. In the IHSA tournament, University is 28 and 17, and that's because you're a relatively young school. Can you talk about University and being its young school and being there 10 years and all the development that's been going on at University?
Sure, yeah. First off, I'd say University High School, it is a special place. The number one thing there is the students and the student athletes that I get to work with are just some of the best. They're really good in the classroom. They treat each other the right way. And, my goal coming in and being there as long as I have was to just build a culture that the seniors to the freshmen could all understand. And really the last 5 years, what I've seen happen is the guys at the top, they teach the younger guys how we do things. And it's really started to have a consistent year-to-year program.
One of the unique things about University High School is it's on 116th Street in Carmel. And I think maybe I'm asking you this question because I think you know and I don't. There's a lot of development across the street at West Park. What is going on over there?
Yeah, they just redid the playground, and I know because my kids want to go over there and play. So it's taken about 2.5 years, so it's been a long process. But yeah, Carmel's a great place to have to be able to coach.
And it's interesting, I did not mention this to Alan Glunt, the new head basketball coach at Brebeuf. And just remember this, just behind University in Kings Mill, one of the former Brebeuf players who coached Glunt was an assistant coach for Trent Hoffman, lived back there, very close to University High School. Of course, this was 12 years ago, so things have changed dramatically. Again, like I said, there's a lot of growth there, and you've been there 10 years.
Yeah. From the time that I started, I was actually an assistant before my head coaching started, and the difference in just kind of the whole atmosphere in the school, how they treat sports, getting the people in the stands, and our gym isn't big, but we fill it for every home game, and you got 600 people screaming and yelling, and it's a really good place to play.
So we talked about your team, and I think of any team coming back this year, you've got a tremendous amount of depth. You've got a lot of returning people back, so your expectations, I think, for your ball club have to be really high this year.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt when you get to a regional and you make it to the regional final, and you feel like you're really close, and then you're bringing back what we have. We definitely have been talking, about getting to the end and trying to win this whole thing. I think every coach would say it's not every year where you feel like you have a team that is capable, and so we are pushing these guys to understand that every day in practice, as good as we may think we are, everyone else is trying to knock us down, and so we've been putting in the work. We're excited. We're hoping we can stay healthy. We've made our schedule as tough as it's ever been in the 10 years that I've been there to try to prepare us for the postseason. Our conference is really strong this year, and we've won it 5 years in a row, and I know everybody's after us. So I feel like we're in a great position to do some special things, but we know everybody's coming after us.
Let's talk a little bit about the tournament format, because I've asked every coach here about that. This year things will change. No longer 2 games for regional, just 1 game for regional, 2 games for a semi-state. How will that affect the university program?
I think I like it. I feel like it potentially puts us in a situation where all those teams in the South, we can see each other together a little bit sooner. But at the end of the day, our sectional is hard. Park Tudor is going to be really good. Covenant Christian is always really good. And just to get out of the sectional into the regional is such a task for us that's really where we start. But I like what they've done. I think it was a smart move, and I think it makes it a little bit less, I guess, random, in terms of how that draw works and how you end up getting to the end. So I like the 1-game format in the regional.
Brandon, I think about the semi-state some years ago when Coach Giannakis was the head basketball coach at University. Your ball club played in a semi-state at Seymour against Borden. In the first game before Cathedral played Jeffersonville, there was not a seat in the house.
Oh, yeah.
There was about 7,500 people, standing room only. That had to be a real challenge for a school like University when you're maybe playing sometimes in front of 500 people.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I was an assistant then, and I remember that game very well. We walked out of the tunnel, and I've never coached in front of anything close to that many people. It was so loud. We had to go with a towel color system to call plays, and but what an experience for our guys. We came up a few points short. We had a shot to tie it late, but that's part of what makes Indiana basketball so amazing.
Yeah, and I was there as well, and I was there as a fan, and I remember the Cathedral basketball team won their semi-state over Jeffersonville with Colin Hartman and Jalen Coleman-Lands, and then the following week they lost to Carmel in a very close ball game at Lucas Oil Stadium in that Class 4A matchup. But Borden went on and beat you guys, but again, there was no seats.
Yep.
You couldn't find a seat. You couldn't find parking.
Yep, for a 1A game, which was crazy.
That was unbelievable. The whole city of Borden cleared out.
Yep, no doubt.
Well, we really appreciate you being here, Brandon Lafferman, and talk a little bit about your final thoughts about your ball club in 23 and where you need to be right now.
Sure. I think right now, we feel like our chemistry is a lot better than it's been, this early in the season, just because of the continuity that has returned. And so we're really focused on the mental side of the game. I feel like we understand what we need to do on the floor. It's a lot more right now about getting guys to understand roles, responsibilities, understand that what it's going to take to win together. No individual is bigger than the team right now. And, I think that if we can make it through the first half of the season playing pretty well, our schedule gets really, really tough starting in January. And at that point, we're going to really test ourselves and try to put ourselves in a position to be ready for the sectional. And I expect, a battle with Park or Covenant just like we had last year.
Brandon, I wish you the best of luck at University. That's
you.
Brandon Lafferman, the head basketball coach at University High School, here on IndianaHighSchoolSports.com.
Universal Roofing and Exteriors is a family-owned and operated business, providing care and honest service for over 30 years. Universal has always been a little bit different. Their certified and trained employees don't just provide excellent work at a fair low price. They care about their customers, simply providing great customer service. Quality, honesty, dependability. That's Universal Roofing and Exteriors. Call us today at 317-257-0779.
Turn your car into cash at the all-new Ray Skillman Northeast Kia on Shadeland. We'll buy your car no matter what make and model, even if you don't buy one from us. You'll get a check on the spot as fast as 30 minutes. It doesn't get easier than that. Do you need a vacation, want to go shopping, or just need some spending money? We need cars, and we have cash for you right now. So turn your car into cash at the all-new Ray Skillman Northeast Kia at 13th and Shadeland Avenue or RaySkillmanShadeland.com.
Universal Roofing and Exteriors is a family-owned and operated business, providing care and honest service for over 30 years. Universal has always been a little bit different. Their certified and trained employees don't just provide excellent work at a fair low price. They care about their customers, simply providing great customer service. Quality, honesty, dependability. That's Universal Roofing and Exteriors. Call us today at 317-257-0779.
Welcome back to the Bulldog Bar and Sports Lounge here at 54th and College. I'm Mike Walensky. Thanks for joining us here today. Our next guest on this Indiana High School boys basketball preseason show is Robert Orkman. Robert's in his third year at Crystal House Manual, 12-10 last year, and your ball club has some key pieces back, and you have a chance to really make a run here at Class 3A.
Yes, we do. We have our senior guard returning, Donnie Pruitt. He's 127 points away from 1,000. As we combined schools, he was with Crystal House. I was with Manual, so he was Crystal House leading scorer. Last year, he had to kind of set back a little bit his scoring and do more distributing and kind of controlling the team. But when we needed him to score, he did exactly that.
Coach Orkman, talk a little bit about that merger between Crystal House and Manual, because a lot of people aren't familiar with that.
Okay, so 3 years ago, the Department of Education decided not to renew their contract with Charter School USA. Crystal House decided to step in and take over the day-to-day operations. But with that being said, we would only be allowed to have 2 more years with the traditional Emmerich Manual High School. So we lost a class every year. This year, we have our last traditional Emmerich Manual class, which will be our senior class. We have a total of probably about 78 seniors left. After this year's class, it will be no more traditional Emmerich Manual High School. It'll be just strictly Crystal House, Watnomney Manual High School.
And your school is located on the south side of Indianapolis. We talked off air. You're awfully close to a lot of really nice places.
Yeah, we are. We have
Garfield Park is one of them.
Garfield Park is right across the street. Lily's is right down the street, and then of course, we have downtown, which is right down the street. So yeah,
that's outstanding. When you look at your ball club this year, talk a little bit about the competition and what you view is your toughest challenge for the upcoming year.
Well, I just think this year. Let me start by saying this year, our practices and just our fall workouts have been very competitive. This is the first time I've had 25 kids at practice competing, so it's pushing us, making us get better. We also have a young man by the name of David Brigham Jr., which I consider the top freshman in our conference and in the city area. He's also been ranked in a couple of the Indiana high school ratings as one of the top freshmen in the state. He's going to be a key contributor to our ball club. We have several other kids who's going to be key contributors, Ashton Sharkey, Javon Tyler. But with that being said, I think our toughest challenge is we start off our season facing 3 of the top schools in the state. We start off with Decatur. Then 3 days later, we have North Central, who I believe is ranked 5th in the state of Indiana. And then a week later, we go to Brebeuf. So we're right in the frying pan starting off. But I feel very confident about our young men, especially how we worked over the summer, how we worked doing fall camp, and how we're playing right now, that I have a lot of confidence that we'll be able to compete with these teams. We're just not a team that's going to be on a schedule and say, hey, that's an easy win. They're going to have to bring their hard hat and their toolkit if they want to just run us over.
Robert Orkman is our guest here, the head basketball coach at Crystal House Manual. Robert, you can't do it by yourself. Talk a little bit about your staff.
Okay, that's a great point. I think any good program, you see the head coach as a spokesperson, but you got to have great guys that's behind the scene that does all the work. So my assistant head coach is David Brigham Sr. He just does a great job with our kids, a lot of individual work. We have also assistant varsity coach Donnell Upchurch. They're all about kids, skill development and fundamentals. So really they make my job easy. All I get to do is meet with the officials and stand up and yell at the kids. They do all the hard work.
Why would one individual, let's say in 6th or 7th grade, want to play for your ball club and want to play for Robert Orkman?
Well, I think one is I enjoy doing what I do. I think it's like everybody has a calling. My calling is to coach and work with kids. I'm about family. I'm about education, but I'm also a mentor. So you're not only going to get a good coach, you're going to get a good mentor. I'm a mentor your young child to be a young man and be a good citizen for the community, be a good father, a good son, and just an overall good person. But not only that, we're trying to build something at Crystal House to where When kids in the 7th and 8th grade, they're looking around to see what school they want to go to, we want Crystal House to be one of those schools where they're like, hey, I want to go play at Crystal House.
Things change, and one of the changes that the IHSA has made this year is a different tournament format. No longer we have 2 regional games. You got 1 regional. Now you've got 2 semi-state. What are your thoughts about that change?
I don't have a problem with it. It's no different than when kids are playing AAU basketball. I think you prepare for that in the summer. You prepare for that in the fall. And if we're blessed enough to get that far, we're going to be ready to go and excited to play.
Well, we're excited to have you here today, and we wish you and Crystal House Manual the best of luck.
I appreciate it, and thank you for having us.
Great to have you. Robert Orkman, the head basketball coach at Crystal House Manual. We'll return to talk to a few more coaches here on IndianaHighSchoolSports.com.
Looking for training that makes a difference? Then Genesis Sports Performance is for you. Whether you're a grade school, high school, or college athlete, or just looking to get back into shape, Genesis has customized programs providing rapid gains in strength and conditioning, speed and agility. Genesis features a 7,000 square foot facility with state-of-the-art weight room and huge turf surface. Call Genesis at 386-7459 or visit them at GenesisSportsPerformance.com. Universal Roofing and Exteriors is a family-owned and operated business, providing care and honest service for over 30 years. Universal has always been a little bit different. Their certified and trained employees don't just provide excellent work at a fair low price. They care about their customers, simply providing great customer service. Quality, honesty, dependability. That's Universal Roofing and Exteriors. Call us today at 317-257-0779.
We're back at the Bulldog Bar and Lounge here in Indianapolis, 54th and College. Tonight's show is built by Universal Roofing Exteriors. Visit them at universalrfg.com. Call 317-257-0779. And by Genesis Sports Performance, the official sports performance training facility of IndianaHighSchoolSports.com. Strength and conditioning, speed and agility. Visit GenesisSportsPerformance.com. Our next guest is none other than Bobby Allen, the fifth-year coach from Guerin High School. 63-34 at Guerin at Class 3A, playing Sectional 27 along with Brebeuf, Heritage Christian, Chittard, Heron, and Shortridge. And Bobby, you're a former head coach at Knightstown. You did a great job there. Henry County Coach of the Year there, and then a former Cathedral assistant. And you mentioned fact that you are a Cathedral graduate in 1999, and now you're running that Guerin program. You got them high-flying.
I tell you what. Guerin's one of those schools. When I was at Knightstown and when I was an assistant at Cathedral, it was one of the places where I just, I had on the map that if I could get to this place, then things would be going pretty well because I knew the type of player they would get, the type of style they would play, and now the challenge is keeping it going. Pete Smith did a great job. They won 2 state championships there. We were fortunate enough to make it to a semi-state a couple of years ago, and now I think our guys know what the expectation is. From the beginning of the year, that our goal is to get back, to winning the sectional every year, competing at a high level, and seeing how far we can go in March.
In the IHSA tournament, Guerin Catholic is 34-14, and a lot of that is reflective of your success and Pete Smith's success. How many basketball coaches do public address announcing at high school football games?
I tell you what, he knows a lot about the game of basketball, just everything. And he's one of those guys who, if I can keep on my side, I'm getting a scouting report from him every week. And it's simply because he loves the game. And I love it. I mean, he contributes so much still to the program that he started. And, you know, I like to think that we're trying to do our best to keep it up to his standards that he started a while ago.
Bobby, I was broadcasting a basketball game, the sectionals at Frankfurt a couple years ago, and Greencastle won that sectional, and Pete was apparently texting you during that game to give you some insight for the next week regional matchup, and he was so thrilled that you took your team to a sectional championship that year.
That was just an incredible experience. I think we had a group of guys that just had an incredible bond that they developed, you know, throughout the year. They wanted to be around each other. They were inseparable. And then we had a couple bounces, you know, go our way, had a little luck help us out, but, you know, we got into a zone where our preparation was key and the guys were all bought into what we were trying to do, and it kind of just became a normal thing for us, right? We were winning some games at the end of the year, then we carried it into a tough sectional. We're lucky enough to beat Brebeuf, and I feel like, you know, we've been playing Brebeuf a lot in the finals right now, and they beat us on 2 tip-ins the past 3 years. But, you know, once you get through that sectional, then anything can happen. And we got to Greencastle, had an incredible experience, and we're fortunate enough to make it to the semi-state.
Talking to Bobby Allen, the head basketball coach at Guerin Catholic, talk about your key returners. Lucas Parker among them, Camilla Chandler and Jack Cherry, and there's others too.
So we do have a great group of juniors coming back, and I'll start with them first. Jack Cherry, he came in and started as a freshman for us, and he's a junior now. Big-time football player, big-time basketball player. He's kind of the one that makes us go. Plays point guard for us, incredible defender. He just has a savvy that's kind of hard to match. He already knows what's happening before it happens. And then alongside him, Robert Sorensen averaged about 9 points for us last year. He was absolutely incredible. And he's a guy who's been in the gym almost every day the past 3 months. I can't keep him out of it because he wants to compete that hard. And then Lucas Parker can shoot the ball at a high level. He actually just committed last week to play at Carroll University in Wisconsin. So he already knows he has 4 more years of basketball that he's getting ready for. And then Kamea Chandler is just quick as snot. I mean, he is just an athlete who can get by people. And I think the challenge we're having right now is trying to get all these guys to mesh. And I think it's going to take a little longer this year than it has in the past with our group. But they're battling hard right now every single day, working through some frustrations. But we're expecting a lot out of our returning guys.
Talk a little bit about school spirit. We haven't asked any coaches here tonight about that, but I think your school really gets behind your team.
I tell you what, so again, this is my 5th year. Every year about this time, you know, when sectional football is going on, our kids are always making videos to try and win the Indy Star Sports Award or whatever they can for the student body. They care. I mean, they care about all kinds of things at Guerin Catholic, but they support each other, whether it's the play, whether it's the choir, a concert going on, football. I mean, you name it. We have kids that come and support our events at Guerin Catholic, and I think that's why it's such a special place to be at.
I know where Guerin Catholic is, but I'm not sure if a lot of the viewers know where it is. Talk a little bit about your location.
Well, I mean, we're right there in the heart of Noblesville, in between Carmel, Westfield, Noblesville. And, you know, our school, we have our Catholic feeder programs that kind of come into Guerin, but I think we're getting a lot of interest right now, you know, based on kind of how we made it through the COVID season with our academics and how we stayed in school. And our admissions department is just doing an incredible job. And we're at a point now where, I mean, we're at capacity, and there's already, you know, we're looking at a wait list for next school year. There's a lot of buzz going on, looking at building some new facilities out there that are just going to help us attract more kids from that area.
I'm going to ask you this question because I think this individual would be very disappointed if I didn't ask this question, because he's got special needs, and he wanted me to ask you, what are your thoughts about Alfie Hernandez?
Alfie Hernandez is just a piece at Guerin Catholic, and if that piece was not there, it would not be the same place. He always has a smile on his face. He's always connected with kids, cheering them up, putting everyone in the right place at the right time, and he is an absolute workhorse, willing to do whatever it takes to make sure our athletic programs are doing what they need to do at the right time.
this year there's been some changes with the IHSA, particularly in the tournament. Now teams have a one-game regional and two-game semi-state. What are your thoughts about that change?
I mean, I think it's exciting that more teams will be in the tournament longer. There'll be more teams, more schools get to celebrate a whole nother week of basketball. To me personally, I just kind of look at every game just as a game in itself, and we're going to go and play who we're supposed to play, and we're going to try and compete at a high level, and if we're fortunate enough to win and move on, then we're going to celebrate the fact that we're going to have a whole nother week to play basketball.
Great to have you out here, Bobby Allen.
I appreciate it. Had a blast.
Great to have you.
Thank you.
Bobby Allen, the head basketball coach at Guerin Catholic. Wish him well for the upcoming season. You're watching the preseason high school boys basketball show on IndianaHighSchoolSports.com.
Universal Roofing and Exteriors is a family-owned and operated business, providing care and honest service for over 30 years. Universal has always been a little bit different. Their certified and trained employees don't just provide excellent work at a fair low price. They care about their customers, simply providing great customer service. Quality, honesty, dependability. That's Universal Roofing and Exteriors. Call us today at 317-257-0779.
Turn your car into cash at the all-new Ray Skillman Northeast Kia on Shadeland. We'll buy your car no matter what make and model, even if you don't buy one from us. You'll get a check on the spot as fast as 30 minutes. It doesn't get easier than that. Do you need a vacation, want to go shopping, or just need some spending money? We need cars, and we have cash for you right now. So turn your car into cash at the all-new Ray Skillman Northeast Kia at 13th and Shadeland Avenue or RaySkillmanShadeland.com.
Looking for training that makes a difference? Then Genesis Sports Performance is for you. Whether you're a grade school, high school, or college athlete, or just looking to get back into shape, Genesis has customized programs providing rapid gains in strength and conditioning, speed and agility. Genesis features a 7,000 square foot facility with state-of-the-art weight room and huge turf surface. Call Genesis at 386-7459 or visit them at GenesisSportsPerformance.com.
Back at the Bulldog Bar and Lounge here in Indianapolis. 54th and College hosting this preseason Indiana High School boys basketball prospectus. And our next guest is none other than Chris Hawkins, the head basketball coach at Crispus Attucks. 115-42. This is your 7th year. You'll be competing in Class 4A with the defending champions, Cathedral Fighting Irish. Let's talk about your arrival at Attucks 4 or 5 years ago, and you have really done a great job there with the Flying Tigers.
Yeah, we've had a great run of guards and kids that basically play the right way, do what we want. We always have a good group of guards. This year we have another group of great guards. So excited just with this group. This is probably, the Nike, Sabandi, Zach Owens group was talented, but top to bottom talent-wise, I think we have our most talented group. We just, sophomores, juniors, are they ready? So that'll be our biggest thing is just, last year a lot of them played early, probably a year early than what they probably should have, but I think the experience was valuable for them. And like I said, we're ready to go now.
There's two high school basketball players in my past that I thought were very underrated and underserved. One of them was Jalen Moore at Cloverdale. He's gone on after a junior college stint at Olney, now playing at Oakland. The other, you just mentioned him, Nike Sabandi. I just thought he was one of the best high school basketball players that I've ever seen. I could not understand why he wasn't recruited at a higher level. To me, he was a Mr. Basketball candidate.
Yeah, Nike was just a kid that was just oozing with potential. And, you get over to a school for 1 year, you just think, man, if I had this kid for maybe 2 or 3 years, he probably could have got to a higher level. But, he's at Pittsburgh right now, working his way back from a torn ACL. But like I said, man, kid was special. I mean, he brought us back. We were down 9 points in the state championship. Got the foul on the 1-3, 4-point play, hit another 3, right back in the game. So I'll be forever indebted to Nike and that whole group, just because, it was a special group. And, they were very unselfish and bought in.
And you've got a special ball club coming back this year. Ron Rutland III, Jackson Payton, Desmond Briscoe, Chris Hurt. You got a lot of really good pieces.
Yeah, we'll start, with Ron Rutland, just oozing potential. Like I said, Dad played at UND. High school-wise, played at Pikes. Grandfather played at Addicts back in the day. So special having him over there. And like I said, last year was his first time really playing varsity. So he's grown so much, has an offer from IUPUI and then from UND. So just a kid that understands the game, plays the right way. And we're expecting a big junior season out of him. Desmond Briscoe, 6'8" forward. I said just oozing potential, man. Just went to Purdue yesterday. He'll go to Butler, I believe, when they play Kansas State on the 30th. And then on the 25th, he'll go down to IU. So just a kid, man, just oozing potential. Can finish both left hand, right hand, and then stepping his range out to the 3. Jackson Payton, probably most athletic kid in the city, in my opinion. Just one of those under-the-radar kids. His first 2 years, he was hurt, lost a lot of weight, got in tremendous condition. He's ready. And then Chris Hurt, point guards I'm the toughest. We've had some great point guards over there. So he started as a freshman, so he's a special kid, understands the game IQ-wise, and now shooting the 3, shooting the ball more. I just think last year our freshmen were just so gun-shy. We had a